that Dave?
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the Tuesday, February 10th Finance Committee meeting. And we will get going by starting with the approval of minutes from 1:13.
I move approval of the minutes from January 13th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, discussion, possible action, capital improvements plan 2024-25 review. Parks.
Okay, I'm going to jump in before we bring him up, just so you can, a refresher on this nice colorful sheet that you'll find. It's A-1, just to point out where we are so far. We have the line item for police department that had vehicles. He will not be attending this tonight, looking at different options on purchasing vehicles, and he'll discuss that when he does his budget review or when he's submitting his budget. So we'll put him on hold for that line item. The pink lines and the gray following, we already did at the last meeting with Steve Sopelak and Joe Lentini. The next little section is going to be for Craig to talk about. I did want to mention on Board of Ed, they have asked that they could present theirs at their budget because at this point they are still presenting this to their new board and they're going through the items, so we may see a major change or at least some changes on the items. They're looking item by item at their 24-25 list for capital, and we'll, as soon as they have it updated, we'll get a copy too. So with that, I know Craig wants to talk about this section that he has. It'll be this as well as the reserve, which is the second page. Craig?
I'm sorry, Mona, what page? I have page and online stuff here.
We should be on A1. It's like about halfway through that page. It looks kind of I think it was intended to be green, but it might be a slightly yellowish color that starts with Parks Area Grounds backhoe. Again, that was for 25-26.
Packet.
Are we there?
Okay, thanks. There we go. Okay, all set, thank you.
Okay, so the items that are in yellow are the new requests. And again, here's the line item of reserves. At that point, we'll bring you to the following page, A-2, which will show the individual items planned for the reserves.
Hello.
Hello.
How we doing? Yeah, so just running through some of the CIP asks for this coming year and some following years. You know, there are a couple leases that we're looking to pick up. There is a Toro lease. We have another year on our Toro, so we're in the fourth year of the last Toro we bought, which is a wide area mower. And usually the way that operation runs is we lease to buy the Toro, and then when that Toro's 5 years is up and we own it, we own it for another 5 years and get another Toro, and it just it keeps revolving. After 10 years, we'll go out to auction and we'll sell, I guess, the third Toro. So one of those you're going to see is, again, we've got another year on the mower, and then we're asking in the future for more money for a new mower. We are also looking at a new
Craig,
truck.
Craig, can you go in order of
I
the
think he went
spreadsheet?
back up.
Back
Oh,
up. Yeah.
okay.
Yep, truck.
So truck 88, that's what I'm on now. Truck 88. Truck 88 is beyond repair. It needs replaced. It is our primary dump body truck that we use. It is rotting out. It's on its last legs.
What kind is it?
It's a Ford.
What year?
Oh, I don't have that in front of me. I can email you the
So like an
year.
F-250?
I think that one's a 250. Yep. So we're going for a 350 this time. Joe has been handling a lot of our trucks with our leases, with Tasca, his contacts at Tasca. So, but that's a critical piece of, that we need that. We need, if we're replacing 5-bar at playgrounds, if we're transporting clay to fields, or it's going on truck 88. So that's a big one that we need. And just moving down the list again, I talked about the Toro, and then the next one I want to talk about is a field painting machine. So there are a couple of towns surrounding us that have this automatic painter, field painting machine, and it's fascinating. Number one, number two, it's highly efficient. So I'll give you a little bit of a backstory of how this thing works. So actually, we had Berlin come out in the fall. The youth soccer program or travel soccer had requested that one of the bigger fields at Maxwell, we turn the 11v11 into 2 7v7 fields running east-west. And so we called Berlin, who we have a good relationship with. Steve Wood sent his grounds crew over with the paint machine. And what this thing does is it's connected to GPS coordinates, and you put the corner of the field where you want this machine to go. You type on the iPad, this is what we want. We want a 7v7 field, and it marks the field out. Fully painted, marked out, 22 minutes. If I sent my guys out to do that, so in total it took 44 minutes to do 2 fields fully painted. It would have taken our guys multiple hours to mark it out with the line, string, dimensions. We're talking maybe three guys, a couple hours each to do that. So the reason behind this too is not only will it save on manpower for field painting, but it also is more efficient with paint. Right now we have an older paint machine that we use that we pull. It's a very high impact paint machine. This machine will use less paint. And again, we can mark fields with it.
Do you want questions now or later?
You can have it.
Go ahead.
So why can't you continue using Berlin's? How often do you need it?
Well, that's a good question, but the problem is when you paint fields every week, they have to paint fields every week
Why every week?
because it gets worn out. They get worn out. The lines get worn down. You have to repaint them. Soccer lines, foul lines, lacrosse lines, they get used. So you have to go back out and lay them down.
How old is theirs? Do you know?
I don't know how old theirs is. I want to say it's probably 3 or 4 years old, 3 years old maybe. Newington has one. Glastonbury has one. It's kind of the cutting edge technology that's being used now in the parks.
I understand that. But Ray, this is exactly what we talk about at the council meetings, is if there's equipment, like in this case, among towns that probably could be shared, why in this instance couldn't we pay Berlin maybe a third, since it's a Warren unit, a third to co-share it?
I think in this situation, I'm not a Park and Rec director, but it sounds like you guys are on the same seasonal schedules. They need it when we need it. Glastonbury needs it when we need it. And it sounds like you have to do it very often. Is that right?
Yes, and the reason why that doesn't work is, let's say we get a rainstorm here. Lines wash away. Well, we got to go out and paint lines the next day. They have to go out and paint lines the next day. Newington has to paint lines the next day. So it's one of those things where we all kind of need it at the same time.
Okay, no, that's a good response.
Yeah, so.
Maybe they'll sell us their old one for a good deal,
That-
right?
That's a good question.
The
Will be-
useful life is of one of those? Can you find out?
Yeah, I can find out. I don't want to answer that without having the facts on that.
Guess it
But
was something
I
else.
do know that these things are they're very cutting edge, and a lot of municipalities are going this way. I mean, this thing, you literally put it in the corner of a field, or you could take it out, we could take it out in the meadow up at Elm Ridge Park, up top. Put it on the ground and say, paint me a lacrosse field for girls lacrosse, which has more lines. This is where we want it. The GPS finds it. You plug the coordinates in, it goes. And it paints perfectly straight lines. It's incredible.
How big of a machine is it, Craig? Like,
So the other thing with this machine too is if something malfunctions and you have to push it, you can push it if you need to. It's like a walk behind machine. It's probably like the size of a snowblower.
right, but you're not walking behind it.
Correct.
Right.
But it's like a snowblower size.
Right. So is it probably not as practical for baseball or softball, right?
Yeah, it's not as it can do like the grass
Yeah.
outfield lines.
Yeah.
But it's definitely better for football, soccer,
Which we have a
lacrosse.
lot of, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they play at McVicker a lot, but we use
Yep.
the auxiliary fields. We use Maxwell. We use
Oh, yeah.
Flanagan or Sunnycrest, I
Yep.
should say. So plus the West Hill. I mean, every.
And the other
soccer
thing
field,
with like the soccer fields too is you still have the goal mouths, that
Yeah.
area, the
Yeah.
box, it's just, it takes a while to do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think a good response when it comes to the council, I think, is, yeah, it's $47,000, but based on our research, it'll last 15 years.
Yeah.
If you're gonna say, well, they last 5 years and then we have to lose.
no, it'll last. I know it's gonna last longer than 5 years, and the payback on it with buying
Saving
less
man-hours.
paint
Yeah.
and man hours, it's gonna be. In my professional opinion, I think it's an efficient cost savings to go with something like this.
So it's less paint. Instead of taking 3 people, will it take 2 people to take it off a truck, or you'll be able to get it with one person in the back
One
of the?
guy.
Well, there you go. Right.
Yep. One guy, one iPad. See ya.
Yeah. Get stuck
He's
in
done,
that
and he
muddy
goes to the
corner.
next one.
Yeah, that muddy corner.
You
Never gets that turn.
Can you maybe also find out from Berlin or Newington about maintenance?
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking that there's questions that people will ask, so if you have all
Yeah.
that information up front.
And this company, the company that this company that we got it, they are based out of West Hartford. So they are local, they're nearby, and I know they service all the equipment for all of their customers in surrounding
Is that
towns.
the one on New Park?
New Britain Ave. Yep.
So just the last question. I mean, I like the idea, by the way, because obviously I was close to that. But the less uses in paint, would that mean we have to line it more often? Because I would imagine that we didn't line it that much when it took 3 hours, 3 men to do a field. You're like, okay. Because I know we cut the grass. We got,
That's a tricky question because the issue with our existing paint machine is it's older technology,
And it
so
pumps too much
it's just pumping paint on. But at the same time, when you're pumping it over and over and over in the same area, it starts to wear down,
Oh, yeah.
and then it becomes harder to grow grass,
Yeah.
right? So some of our fields are multi-purpose fields, and we might not want lacrosse lines on there in the fall, right?
Right.
It's a soccer field. So, the problem is with this high impact paint machine is it wears out the field too. So
Yeah, I
this
know.
is less impact.
Only works on a baseball and softball field for the outfield foul lines, right? So, yeah. Okay. I'm good with questions.
You know, so-
Okay, so
And then I think there were, you know, on the next page, we had some stuff in reserves for pool upgrades, 250,000, and then McVicker turf replacement. You're going to see that in there. That is something that's coming down the pike in, you know, 4 to 5 years. That turf right now is it's close to 10 years old. Or it might be right around 10 years old. So we're looking to get 14, 15 years out of that, which is a good, that's a good, you know, lifespan for artificial turf. And, you know, we do put money in our budget every year to have that turf, you know, maintained and groomed and cleaned and safety tested. And, but again, you know, that does wear down after about 15 years.
What was the cost for replacement, you think? Again, today, not 10 years from today.
Last time, we got a steep grant, $500,000 steep grant to fund that, but I'm not sure if it went over. I'm not sure if the grant,
No, I think the grant did cover most of that. But my thoughts would be, I think it would be closer to between 650 and 700,000 at this rate. That's just kind of the going rate.
So what's the
And that's also projecting out, you know, a couple years, because I have some quotes from 2 years ago where it was, you know, 550, and
So what's the 150 then represent?
just 150 a year out over 5 years. So in hopes that after 5 years, we have enough money in the reserve to cover the
Okay,
cost
so
of it.
you're
So we're not asking for it all
kind of
upfront.
earmarking it and,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
anticipating
Yes.
in 5 years, 6th year, we'll need it.
Yes.
Okay.
Craig, I know we've been talking about the Elmridge Pool for the past at least 10 years.
I've heard you talk about it.
When are we going to get a study? We've had a survey, but when are we going to get a study?
We've had multiple studies, and we've had, you know, as part of a conceptual master plan we did back in 2020, we had a couple different estimates on what it would cost to do, you know, a renovated pool, cost for a splash pad, and then a new pool. And again, those things can range at different scopes. There's different sizes. There's, you know, today's age, if you're building a new pool, you need to go zero depth entry. That's just, you know, for the ADA, for ADA accessibility. You know, how many laps do you want, or how many lanes do you want so you can have lap swimmers?
But I mean, based on the survey, I forgot what the survey results, the majority of people wanted. They didn't want to spend for a whole new one. More like a renovated one. But if you gave us a one-page summary of what it would cost in today's dollars 5 years from now, and we could start saving up for that, because we tried this 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and the account was wiped clean. So I just want to make sure that when it's presented to the council, that people will see this and that we're actually saving up for something that had been studied with a price tag.
Yeah.
Knowing that the price tag will obviously change in 5 years, but we have that roadmap.
Well, and we have gotten some quotes on doing renovations, just, for example, getting rid of the deep end and going just one level. There's a product that you can make that it's like a fitter. It goes like right inside the pool. Again, we keep talking about this, but the reality is it's a 60-year-old pool. It's old. And you know,
You're the director. What's your recommendation?
I've said it on record several times. If you want to do it right, we have to get a new pool.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
But can
But
we-
again, with a new pool, there are different ways you can go about it. You don't have to have the Taj Mahal. You know, or you gotta have splash features now, like zero depth
What would
entry.
be the cost of a new pool with like the minimum?
Well, again,
features?
there's so many factors, Dave. There's, the cost of concrete alone is always fluctuating. For this town, I think you're probably with a new bathhouse, because you would need to upgrade your bathhouse facilities if you're putting a new pool in. Anywhere from probably 8 to 10.
Million?
Yeah.
The bathhouse needs replacement too?
Yeah, that's as old as the pool. If you're gonna replace the pool, you gotta do the bathhouse. I'll give you an example. The bathhouse, we don't even have an area for our guards to go and eat lunch in the bathhouse. They don't have a locker room area that they can go to. So whenever they go to eat, they go to a picnic table in the park. There should be adequate facilities for them. We don't have that. So I know it's a scary number, but that's the reality of
Well,
that existing facility.
Personally, I would like to see any grants that come in from the state,
Excuse me, sir.
any grants that come in from the state. I'd like to see go towards the pool. It's like everything goes towards everything else, and I know we have projects for new fields and stuff like that, but it's like we talk about this every year, and the pool seems to get put on the back burner every year until one of these days it's gonna be critical. And we have to come up with a high amount of money because we haven't been saving, but we don't know what we're saving for. Whether it's a renovation or a complete remodel or complete replacement. So I think we need clarity on that. I get what you're saying. I totally agree. I think we do need a new one. But I see some of these grants come in over the years and it gets put into things other than the pool.
The other thing we could do is, I could reach out to some colleagues in the field that have had recent renovations, number one. Number two, I can also reach out to the design consultant who did our last study to get some figures, just so
You could do
the next time I come to this, I could give you 3, 4, 5 different options, but that still doesn't. It's just a number. It doesn't factor in bidding and material costs and everything else. But
So
it'll
right
at least
now, we
give
have
you an
nothing-
idea.
Sorry, we have nothing in reserve for the pool right
Nothing.
now because we've used it for other
That's
and
correct.
adventures. Okay. Yeah, I think it would be good to have that,
Sure.
because, that 8 to 10 is gonna scare a lot of people, and then,
Correct.
I'd love to know the usage piece of the pool to,
Yeah,
are we gonna get a bang for our buck for 8
we have
to
all
10
those
million?
numbers.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
so, and I know we use it from June to mid-August or something?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, okay.
Correct, so why don't you try to put some figures together for like a renovation and
Sure.
new, including the bathhouse, all of the pumps and all the other infrastructure.
Yeah,
that
and
goes
I
with
can
it.
give you guys, I can give you access to the plan that we did back in 2020.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
That'll give you some rough ideas, just so you have an idea of what it was in 2020. That was 5 years ago. And that had several options.
And Mona, if we start saving into the account, how do we put a lock on it so it's not pulled out?
You asked me that. There is a lock on it.
It's not a very good look.
There-
Everybody knows the combo.
I would say that's not true. I'm going to speak from when I'm here.
Yeah.
And I think I may have mentioned it before. The funds that go into this non-recurring fund occur by way of resolution. If they were going to get reallocated to another purpose, should be by resolution. I can't speak to what has happened prior, but I take that very seriously, that if it comes in by resolution, it must change by resolution. And I think that's all I can say is the confidence is that's the way it should be done.
Okay.
But is that recorded, so 6 years down the road, if somebody's in your position, they'll know that this particular account, you can't touch it unless it's being expended for that
It
purpose?
should be common knowledge within finance, yes.
Okay, all right, thanks. Thanks, Craig.
And last thing I do want to say, sorry, I don't want to keep this much longer, but there are some items within the last year that, you know, our department has done, or some projects that our department has paid for, you know, out of special revenues. We did buy a piece of equipment recently for the garage that we had kept putting into our CIP that kept getting unfunded. And that was a mini excavator that we are actually sharing with the highway department. And then last April, we did some significant work in the gym downstairs. I don't know if you've been by there lately, but it's beautiful. We resanded everything down. We added some pickleball lines. We widened the gym court. We recentered the hoops. We've added matting in there, and that was all to the tune of between $25,000 and $30,000. That, you know, things we've tried to take off of these lists so that, you know, things that we can tackle, we're trying to tackle, I guess I want to say. So that's all.
Well, we're going to go on a tangent slightly here. The Board of Ed mentioned something about an after-school program. Possibly be taken over by Park and Rec.
Sure.
And I don't know if you've been approached or anything on that.
There's been discussions.
Yeah, and you know, they mentioned it might be a revenue
Potentially.
source. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Just wanted to make sure.
What about staffing?
Well, that's the golden.
Well, I would think the revenue would offset the staffing cost. I'm
Some-
obviously
yeah.
net
Oh, yeah,
positive.
yeah,
I'm with
yeah,
Clark,
yeah.
net positive, right? I
Yes.
just wanted to make sure that we were
Yes.
on the same page.
Yep.
Okay. And what was the 125 for the high school? Just for repairs?
Yeah, those are pool repairs.
Okay. And we look good in that pool going forward?
And that's already in the budget, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
That
that's for
was
the boiler.
High school,
Yep.
not the
Yeah, that's for the
elementary.
indoor pool.
Yes.
Yep. And that money's already encumbered. We're just waiting to get in there and do the work. It's kind of tricky, A, with the weather, and B, with the high school season. So we're waiting for the high school season, boys swimming season to end to do some of those things.
Okay.
All right?
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that $8 to $10 million figure is similar to what we would have to spend for the Public Works garage at some point in the future.
Gee, you know, you just reminded me, didn't they want a garage?
Yeah, there's, we may have to
to-
maybe combine.
To
Right, yeah,
maintain
if
their
you did it
equipment,
right.
or, I'm sorry, right.
Yeah.
That would be a combined thing,
It'd be probably the best way to do that,
because I know there's a lot of stuff outside their Park and Rec yard.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, next up, update on the special revenue fund.
Okay. Hold on. Give me a second, I got myself jumbled up here.
Hurry up, Mona.
I ripped my pages off for Craig to look at, now I gotta find my pages again.
Put a lock on that pool fund.
Okay. I think it's on my back page.
Is that
Thank
2B,
you.
Mona?
No, what's that?
2B?
Yes, should be page 3, item 3.
Page 3.
Yes. Okay, so on our special revenues, actually, we can probably touch on, as Craig was mentioning, I don't have it as a highlight, but I will mention that if you look at the recreation program, it's the second line down, Presently, that fund has 400,000. We've now added that extra column to the left that shows you where was this fund at the same time last year, so you can get a sense of if this is normal for that fund. So that does tend to stay around the 400,000. And that has allowed the Parks Department to do things, as he was mentioning, such as fixing up the gym downstairs and maybe buying some equipment that is not in his regular budget. Other items on the special revenue, I had put a number 1 next to the asset forfeiture. Again, there is conversation with the police department on what to do with that particular fund, the 400,000, 422,696. Perhaps if that should be considered as an option of purchasing vehicles. We've had conversation before that the funds are not coming in as they had in the past. The individual that was overseeing that program is not with us. So it has slowed down in the revenues. We're looking at ways to kind of keep up with it and keep it flowing in. Next,
I'm sorry, Mona,
Yeah.
what are the criteria for spending from that fund?
that one has actually a kind of a list that's given to us, and obviously it has to be police-related, and it should be toward equipment. So we've been able to do things like tasers or ammunition or bulletproof vests. So they give us a list of the type of items that are allowed, vehicles being one of them.
So if they need like radar units or laser units, they could
Absolutely.
use that? Okay.
Yes, good use for
That
anything
might be
like
something
that.
good to bring up on public safety, or maybe let him know ahead of time for public safety, because I know that might be brought up about some cars missing equipment.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah, that would be a good source for that.
Do you have an idea, or does the chief have an idea of what the drop in revenue is gonna be from that asset forfeiture?
We're actually experiencing it now, and I will say, kind of historically, and I didn't bring it with me, but this particular account kind of picked up its activity when the individual, was overseeing it. So if you even go back in history, it would tend to draw in about 20 to 30,000 versus about 200,000 per year. So we could probably deplete back down to that. I've been working with the chief. We've actually got him signed on that he can, monitor some of the cases. We don't know if that's going to be to the point of that level of detail we had in the past. So you're looking at a couple $100,000 difference
So you have under CIP 3 cruisers.
at this
So-
point. So he's considering whether this might be the better place for it, or perhaps we've talked about the red lights approach of source of revenue. So that's why I was saying, I don't think, as far as CIP, that police line, we didn't even want to discuss it tonight.
guarantee
It's
you-
got a lot of options.
And you
of
remember
not-
from past days when the vehicles came up before the council, they'd ask for 3, we'd give them 1.
Right,
They'd ask for 4, we'd give them 2.
yes,
So that could very well happen again.
correct, right.
Okay, thank you.
One quick question before we get on from that. What's your opinion on having a dedicated, I guess it's a patrolman that, helped us increase our asset forfeiture?
It definitely was, making more money than it was
Was it a
spending.
net positive? Like,
Definitely.
I mean, there are a couple variables that I've talked to others that have said, okay, you're paying them the salary, you're paying them the benefits, right? Great, okay, but you're also, because it's a patrolman, it may take away from some of their other normal duties that maybe somebody has to work overtime in order to make up for that deficit. So, taking all those variables into account, would this be a nice add to the police roster? If it's a net positive? I mean, I don't know, maybe drugs go down in popularity, I don't know, but,
I think it's a net positive. Yeah, let's listen to me answer that one.
Yeah.
So yes, a net positive, but like I said, it's going to be offset by the salary and the benefits. So even though you're probably bringing in $200,000-300,000 in a year,
Yeah.
so you're probably getting about half of that. I don't know. It'd be more of the chief's question
It
of
just,
what
it
do we
might be
do with
something to
that
bring up,
full-time
yeah.
person?
Yeah,
Is it?
and
Yeah.
certainly if the chief comes
Right,
up, I would
yeah.
ask him
Yeah.
too, but
So I
He's
think the
probably gonna
quest-
look to you.
Yeah, well, definitely, I think financially, but I think what I was going to try to say is if that person was 100% attributed to this program only, debatable about that margin. If that person had some other responsibilities in between a
Yeah.
large case investigation, then I think you're definitely leaning toward definitely a
A
good
net
move.
positive.
So,
Yeah, okay,
that's it.
thank you.
And let's see where we are.
Now that we took you, yeah.
Towns, I think I met town clerk, we're still using that for record retention. Human services, we had the 200,000 there, although I think we probably depleted some of the expenses with this recent concierge situation. Private duty, yes?
Are we going to be able to, obviously, there's still costs occurring, maybe like at the next meeting, have like a rundown of what specifically revenues have come out of because of this concierge? Because it may be necessary down the line if we're going to get compensated for it.
I'll make a note of it, for sure. Yes, and what I try to do at this page is, if there's any plans of expending anything greater than the $10,000 amount, then I will let you know. For example, if police department decided they really weren't going to buy the vehicle, I will tell you before the purchase occurs, so if
Just
there's
because you
anything
mentioned
large.
that, I figured
This
I'd
will be
ask you
one
now
of them.
before I forget. at the end of
Go
the
lower than
meeting.
10,000 now.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And other one I was pointing out is private duty. Again, going almost similar to that asset forfeiture thought is, again, this is a fee for service. At this point, it has 350,000 in there. 200 will get transferred at the end of the year. This would be, as you're thinking of your budget process, does it need to be more than 200,000? His is, again, is fee for service, it's salary and cost of benefits that are being billed out to people using this service. So we perhaps could absorb another piece of, or a larger piece than 200,000 out of there. So, items to think about as we get ready for budget process.
Yeah, a part of that, Mona, I'm just wondering if, could we assume that that 200,000 going to the general fund, could that theoretically be allocated to an account for the pool, Elm Ridge? If it's just going into general, or does it have to be specific?
It would have to be specific enough, because this will show, in order to get the funds out of there, it's going to show as a cost to the fund. So that's why the benefits related to the officers working, and then we can offset the cost to the benefit. I think that being so
not saying- well, I'm
completely
not s-
away from its purpose.
I'm not saying it's going from the police to Elm Ridge, I'm saying police into the general fund, and then you allocate that slice 200 to Elm Ridge. It doesn't have to
In
be
a sense, you
from,
could, and I wouldn't necessarily like word it that way, but yes, because if we transferred it in as a source of revenue to the general fund, that would make the general fund be able to increase its budget for other items, and one of those items could be what you choose.
Okay.
Again, keeping your,
okay, thanks.
and I get a little too
Counting
finance
exercise.
sometimes, and
I'm just trying to think that instead of,
Yes.
when we're at the council meeting, thinking, well, how are we going to come up with the 250 for the pool? Well, here's something coming in, here's another thing coming in, so, okay.
yes, that could go in general fund, decrease the pension side of it, which would free up more funds to do something like the pool.
Right.
So it does balance.
Do you have any idea how much the pension fund would be for next year?
It
For the
should be at
contribution?
it should be at the same amount that was intended. We get
650?
biannual, so it should have been a 1.7 million for that, for the police, about 500 for the general. So I think we were off by about 500,000 of making it whole.
Okay.
Mona, quick question. If, if a police, a patrolman, whatever, works a lot of private duty, is that because of the increased income to that patrolman, is his pension increased?
No, not for the private duty. There will be some overtime, and that only applies to the more senior. When we reopened that plan, the overtime has no longer being allowed to be a portion of that. So we've
Okay,
got
so
some of the more
private
senior
duty
group.
will not increase a patrolman's pension?
No,
Okay.
Regular overtime would.
correct, yes.
Yeah, okay, I get that, yeah.
That's a good question.
That's it for special revenues, unless there was a question on that. Nope.
Dave, all set?
Yes, I'm all set, absolutely.
Okay, next
Next,
is,
update reserve for capital and non-recurring expenditure fund through January 31st.
yes,
Did that say 2026?
I hope so.
Yes.
Are we looking back a year?
Oh, heck, no, I'm sorry. Some typos on there I'm seeing. We'll fix those. We'll be in 2026 for February, I promise. So, this is really 2026. So highlights on the capital non-recurring. I noticed I should have a little parenthesis around that 47,000 on the first line. High school renovation, give an update on that. Believe it or not, we did the final audit, or had it from the state for that high school project. And the company that was basically managing that project finally has its last payment. They waited very patiently, I think over 10 years to receive that amount. So that is the payment to the company that was working on the high school project. Probably since I'm touching on high school projects, kind of a side note on that, we had been carrying notes for that particular project for about $2 million for a number of years. The expectation that when this thing closed, that we would have to go out and bond for the remaining $2 million. They did return 1.2 million of that, so we will have a small portion to consider for bond. Ordinarily, we don't bond for something as small as the 800,000, but if we had other plans that may need bonding, like the land acquisition purchases, we may have an interest in combining. Otherwise, I'll probably just go out and do a note to finalize this. So, things to think about. Otherwise, in capital non-recurring, it's probably about halfway down. We've got the elderly bus. The bus came in, money was received, the expenditure went out. You can see we were to the good of 25,000 on that line, and that will stay there for future bus purchases. And like as we mentioned, unless we have any reason that we want to come together and reallocate. We're continuing on Board of Ed. You do see that the negative 375, that will be pending the reimbursements. So we're consistently working with Board of Ed, just signed off on some more paperwork for them. As they submit for reimbursement, we'll see this recoup itself.
And Mona, I'm sorry, backing up to Foundry, what's that for? What's the project?
Which one?
The Foundry, Town Council Foundry, 49,828.
How much is that?
Well,
Is that the,
I think it predates me. Do you?
I'm not really sure. This probably occurred back sometime in like 14, 15. I know I was involved somewhat in the, some of the remediation done to demolish the main portion, the main factory. We had hired the Ritchie Vecinos firm to do that. And then there was some form of contribution. I remember that they asked us to contribute to do something else that the state, I think, required them to do during that process. And it was like $150,000, I
Still
think.
there.
So we're trying to research that now.
Okay.
You know, but we're trying to do that paper trail.
Okay, thanks.
Those are my highlights for capital non-recurring, unless there's any questions.
I'm good.
Okay, state aid to municipalities for 25-26 budget.
Okay, for state grants, we only update on that is we did get our second installment on the ECS grant, and state revenues are coming in as projected, in a timely manner, so no concerns on state revenue.
And the monthly financial report.
Okay, jump on there. I always like to go to the page for the tax collector. That's one of our major areas to look at, obviously. And good news with that we are on the 3-year benchmark. It says at 44,000, which is actually good, that we're right on the mark. Pointing out as well that the motor vehicle supplementals slightly behind what was last year, but we're still collecting. You'll see that February 1st was also a collection day for the month end, so we may see some of this pick up in the following month's report. Prior year tax collections are obviously greater than past years due to our collection process. We've talked about state revenue. Interest is still exceeding target. Conveyance and vital on target, and building permit fees for revenue. And I did bring my a little research note that we had talked about, that building is slightly behind what the target would be. And if you look on, is it 2B, that's the actual revenue lines. Building is at, as of January 31st, $383,000. At this time last year, it was at $559,000. In the year prior to that, January for '24, it was at $494,000. So that definitely is the revenue line that we'll continue to watch and hopefully have that pick up when the season opens for the spring. That could be a potential under revenue. As far as the expenditure side, I've got some highlights on there. We were doing very well as far as being on target with salaries. Overtime, compared to last month, is actually creeping up, obviously due to the storm that we had. I think we'll still be able to do this within its budget, but just pointing out that it was in a good place where it was under, and now I think it's creeping up to probably will be meeting the budget amount. And if we don't have any more storms, we may stay there. I think some of the other line items are just updates. We've got third quarter for sewer. If you're looking at the detail, trash is at a 6-month, if we're looking at comparison. Pointing out on electricity, if you look at the detail pages, you'll see the electricity looks like it's going way out of whack and over budget, keeping in mind that the RLE cost appear on each individual Eversource bill, and we will at year end take those out and put them into the capital line that's reserved. So if you're looking at that and thinking it's out of budget, we should all panic. There will be $300,000 of that moved out into the capital non-recurring line, not non-recurring, gosh, the capital line. And as far as debt, everything is being paid on its regular basis. Expenditures for Board of Ed is through December. We're usually 1 month in arrears on getting that information. As far as the capital area, I think I'd mentioned the RLE and just basic leases and the pool boiler that we had talked about with Craig shows up as in the encumbrance field. So, high-level overview of that, unless you have any questions.
The vehicle repairs, the minibus, is that the one that was received already?
No, that was that actually had to go out on the older one prior to the new one coming in.
Okay.
Is it back online?
It is.
Dave, any questions?
I'm good.
Thanks, Mona. Anything for other?
Nothing.
Motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.